Security profiles allow you to establish a standard security configuration for groups of employees. Creating a security profile is much easier than restricting security for each user individually. But even with a security profile assigned to an individual, you still have the ability to override settings for that user when needed. Let's go to the File menu to set up security profiles. Point to Setup, then User and Security, and click Security Profiles. From the Security Profiles page, we can add, change, or delete profiles for our firm. Pick one of the buttons to learn more. When you are done, click Close to exit the lesson. To build a new profile, click the Add button to launch the new Profile Wizard. The wizard helps by stepping us through the setup, but you can disable it if you prefer to enter information directly on the profile form. Let's start by entering a name and description for the profile. Click Next to continue. Now we need to choose how to display the records that users assigned to this profile cannot access. The options are to show the records with indicators of either restricted or private, or for Time Matters to hide the records completely. The default is to not show the records at all. Let's leave that setting selected and just click Next. Now we need to indicate the type of staff records the user should have full rights to. Since this profile is intended for our temporary employees, let's grant full access to normal records assigned to the default staff, but not to private records. For records created by the users with this profile, let's also grant access to both normal and private records. Then click Next to continue. At this point, the profile has been created. The Security Setup wizard launches next to guide us through customizing program access for this profile. Let's click Finish to exit this wizard and continue. Users can inherit security settings from the profile we created. The wizard helps by stepping us through configuring the security setup for the new profile. It asks a series of high-level questions to determine which areas of the application should be restricted. These restrictions can be fine-tuned, so don't be concerned if a simple yes or no answer isn't completely appropriate. First, we need to choose whether users assigned to this profile should have access to change settings, setup codes, and templates. Since this profile is used for temporary employees, let's change each to No. Then click Next to continue. Now let's decide if users assigned to this profile should be able to import and export records and synchronize Time Matters with third-party applications, such as Microsoft Outlook. We do want them to be able to perform these tasks, so we leave the Yes selected. Temporary staff should not be able to access utility menus, so let's change that option to No. The users should be able to access reports, customize fields, run document searches, and access the recycle bin and the in-out list. Let's leave that option as Yes. Click Next to continue. These users should not have access to invoices, so let's select No. We do want the users to have access to normal records, but let's restrict access to private records. With the basic security configured for the profile, we can begin using it at this point. We also have the option to view the profile form, where we can customize individual security settings for the profile. The profile form contains more configurable fields than those presented in the wizard. So let's take a look at them. On the Security Profile Setup form, the Access tab shows us the responses we chose earlier when completing the wizard. Any of these settings can be edited if needed. The Overall Program Access tab shows us the current access level for each area of the program. Earlier, we chose to restrict all access to setup forms for this profile as indicated by the N beside each area. Moving down the list to the General section, we see the profile has access to import, export, and synchronize as we specified. Overriding any restriction is easy. Simply click the N to the right of a program area, like Document Search. The N changes to a Y, and access will be granted to that area once the change is saved. Editing both the access-only and fully controlled program areas work the same way. We can also define special exceptions that override these restrictions. Exceptions can be configured based on records or fields. When using the record-based exceptions, we need to specify the staff, contact, matter, or code that defines when exception can occur. Let's add a staff exception. First, we need to select the staff record. Let's choose D. Brickley. Then, select the record types. We can choose multiple record types, but for this staff, we just need billing. The current access level for both normal and private billing records is displayed. From past experience, we know this staff really shouldn't have the ability to delete billing records. We click the Y to change both delete options to N. Once saved, this staff member can no longer delete billing records, but all other users assigned to this security profile still have that access. Special exceptions can also be made for specific contacts. Use the Select button to choose Contacts. With the contacts tagged, click the Select button at the top. Now let's choose the types of records that need exceptions for the selected contacts. For this contact, let's tag all the record types. Now we can override the access like before. Let's restrict access so that any user assigned to this profile cannot view, change, or delete private records for this contact. Matter and code exceptions work the same as the contact one we just added. Field-based exceptions restrict access at a deeper level. After selecting record types, individual fields on those forms can be restricted. For now, the staff and contact exceptions are all we need to add, so we click OK to finish configuring the new profile. We can now use the new temporary staff profile to standardize the security access for our temporary employees. If you need to update a security profile, click to select it in the list. Then select the Change button. From the Profile tab, you can make changes to the profile name or description. On the Access tab, you can control how security settings are applied to the profile and how access to restricted records is indicated. Currently, normal records that users of this profile don't have access to are not displaying at all. Let's change it so that the record shows as restricted and private records show as private. Now, let's go to the Overall Program Access tab and allow users of this profile to access triggers and their navigators. On the Fully Controlled Program Area tab, we need to restrict the ability for these profile users to delete contacts, matters, and documents. We do that by clicking the Y in each delete column for those program areas. That changes the indicators to N, which restricts the access to all users of the profile as soon as the changes are saved. But first, we need to configure one special exception to the profile. One staff member using this profile, Allison Monroe, needs to retain access so that she can delete contact, matter, and documents as needed. Let's select those record types. And leave the delete functionality accessible for her. With the security profile updated, we click OK to save the changes. The changes are now in effect for all staff assigned to this profile. You can delete a security profile that is no longer in use. Select the profile and click the Delete button. You'll always see a warning asking if you are sure you want to permanently delete the record. Click Yes to continue. That's all it takes to remove a security profile from Time Matters. The security profile is no longer available for use as a standard security configuration for groups of employees. Now that you are familiar with how to add, change, and delete security profiles, you can learn more about setting up users, user groups, and staff groups by selecting those lessons.